Get ready to take a look behind the scenes and enter the impossible for the Between Two Minds podcast with our hosts, Judge Mentalist and Bernardo Rodriguez. Can they really tell you what you're thinking?
Good afternoon, everybody. It is Judge Mentalist. I am back here doing one of the interviews. This time we are previewing the Michigan International Hypnosis Conference coming up this September in Detroit, Michigan. And my entire podcasting about hypnosis journey actually began at last year's Michigan Hypnosis Conference. And before I go too deep into that, I'm going to introduce our guest because around this time last year, maybe a little earlier, he connected with me and asked me to be the official podcaster at the event, which turned out all fine and well, but then it really just kind of immersed into something and evolved into something where it was like, no, we should be doing these ahead of time so that we can explain what's happening, so that we can talk about individual talks. And without further ado, I'm going to bring to the screen here the mastermind, the man, the myth, the legends. And I know he's going to tell you that some of those legends are dark and nasty and that you should believe them all. Here he is, Dan Goyette. Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well. Hey, thanks for having me on and for being the official podcaster of the Michigan International Hypnosis Conference. It's good to talk to you again.
Absolutely. And I'm glad I said this as we were kind of ramping up to get started here. This was somewhat unintentional. And sometimes those things that you don't plan to do just work out the way that they should. So I threw together the schedule of my availability. I decided that this year, because last year I did the podcasts live at the conference and usually after somebody was talking about their talk, and midway through them, I was like, what's the point of this? This isn't pushing anybody or encouraging anybody or waking somebody up to an opportunity. These should be done ahead of time. It was cool. And I was glad that we did them. And it was great to just kind of dig in and talk more with some of the presenters. But then when the gears shifted and I said, hey, let's do this ahead of time, and we did it for PHS, it worked out real well. So here we are doing them ahead of time. And I decided, because last year when I did the PHS ones, it was all kind of a, hey, you want to do this? When are you available? And we had times that were scattered and all over the place and everything like that. This year I decided, hey, I'm going to be organized. So it's a new word I've learned. I have a schedule. These are all, and there will be an exception. Anytime that word all gets thrown around, it then introduces, it's kind of like Schrodinger's cat, right? It introduces the exception. So now we've opened the door to the exception. But as far as the schedule is concerned right now, the available times are Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern time. And that'll be, let's see, September, October. We don't switch time. So we'll be in Eastern daylight time. That's what we're in right now, just so that anybody that wants to be very particular about it. So for those of you who are wanting to tune into these live, know that for the most part, and they're not all going to end up getting filled up because it's a calendar link that I send out and Dan sent out, and people pick their times and send me their information. And then, we do the thing. They're mostly going to be either at 2 Eastern, Tuesday or Thursday, running through up and until the conference or until we interview everybody. So, I was super happy when I just dropped that schedule out and a couple people started signing up and everything. And then lo and behold, who grabs the very first spot but the guy who started the whole thing?
Exactly. So, as it should be.
As it should be. And again, if I had actually gone to that next level of being like, Dan, I want you to take the first spot, it would have made a lot of sense. But having it happen organically, also perfect. I mean, doesn't that say a lot about what we do and just having things just flow where they need to flow and getting right where they need to be?
Exactly. As Vinny Bergantz would say, organic hypnosis happens as it happens. So, yeah. And yeah, he's a good guy. He's going to be at the conference this year as well. And we're
That's
pretty
right.
excited about that. As a matter of fact, Vinny, as I get back on camera, Vinny Bergantz is going to be our closing keynote speaker. So excited about that. But we should probably get back to the beginning, right?
Yeah, let's start with the basics. For anybody who doesn't know, tell us about the conference. This is what year it is that you've been doing this, how it started, how it's grown. Let's get into the basics, and then we'll get into the real stuff. And for anybody who's watching live, any comments that you leave will be, and if you have questions or whatever, drop them in here. This one's probably going to be a little longer than the normal ones run because, well, we're talking about the whole conference. So here we go.
Exactly. So actually it started, this is our fourth year. Yes. Started in 2022, I want to say. And it started with Heather. Heather Carpenter is my business. Well, she was my executive manager, if you will, kind of started helping me out because she didn't like how I had put together the website. So, and that's a story unto itself, but she was my executive manager. And I think I had come back from Hypno Thoughts, which was an amazing conference always. And I got an invite to go to the UK Hypnosis Conference in November. And I just got back in August. And so it was like just a couple months away. So I really quick scrambled, putting together the funds to go out to England. I was there for like 3 days, just long enough to do the conference because I didn't have the time. But I thought, England, I got to go. I've been invited. So I'm going. And I came back and she started asking me a question. She goes, hey, how come we don't have a conference here in Michigan? And I didn't have a good answer for her. I knew that there had been one in Michigan right around February. I think it was the Dental Association had a very early on, way back when, had a conference here in Michigan in February. And as we all know, if you're in Michigan in February, you either are an avid snowmobiler or you've lost a bet. So, yeah. I said, well, I said, I don't know why. She goes, no, you don't understand. Why don't we have a conference here in Michigan? You keep going to all these other conferences and you keep making all these other people money and you keep spending all that money to make them money. Why don't we have one here? And I just kind of, at that time, I'll be honest with you, I didn't want it. I said, it's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of logistics. I don't think that's something I want to get into. And she said, you're not understanding me. We're having a conference. So the conference was really more Heather's brainchild than mine. I know that you guys are always, seeing my bright, shiny, face and seeing my, wonderfulness and my effervescent. But she really is kind of behind the scenes working, as we both are. So that first year we said, okay, we're going to do it. We did it in Gaylord, Michigan at the Treetops Resort, and it was the Great Pilgrimage North. As a matter of fact, the airport that we came into that was closest to us was the Traverse City Airport, about an hour away from Gaylord. So we hired buses to get people back and forth from the airport, and then half the people drove. So gotta love it. So that's where it started. We really started it, just thinking, let's do that. And we didn't start it to just have a conference. I had been kind of talking to her a little bit. I don't want to say complaining, but I was surprised that Michigan used to be quite the mecca. When I got out of training in 2012, you looked online on Google and you looked for hypnosis in Michigan. It was everywhere. There was really, you look on Michigan now for hypnosis and it's very, very sparse. It's, you know what I mean? It's just,
but it's still, it's still better, I would say. And again, your perspective is different than mine, but it's still a lot better than a lot of other states. And
possibly so.
One of the things that I have observed as a performer is that there are a lot of gigs that exist in the Midwest that don't exist on the East Coast, not naturally and not falling off of trees the way that they are in the Midwest. Like not every school has a post-prom lock-in. Not every school does a grad night or a senior send-off or anything. Those gigs exist. In fact, we're doing one next week up in New York, but it's not like, I think that I'm the only, at least performing hypnotist in my county and probably in a decent amount of distance from where I am geographically. So if they existed everywhere, it would literally be a matter of make 10 phone calls, book 10 gigs for me. But it doesn't exist because they're not booking for the thing that everybody else is booking for. So it's an advantage to some extent because I don't have a lot of competition. But then again, I'm selling people something that they don't necessarily need yet. So I have to create that need as well.
Exactly. Well, and yeah, I kind of mean more the therapy offices. There was a lot of them, and
I don't see a lot of that out here either. And there's a few scattered, but
and as I began to look around the area, thinking about putting on this conference, who would come from Michigan, what I began to find was a lot of them, and this was in 2022. A lot of them had closed, and I get businesses close, and I get people move on, but it was an inordinate amount. It was just, you would see that their last social media post was in, 2017. Phone numbers were turned off, websites were parked, just over and over and over and over. And I kept finding it, and I thought, one of the big things in hypnosis, whether it's therapy or stage, is that mentorship. They didn't have anybody to show, and not that I did, but they didn't have anybody to show them how to start a business, show them how to manage business, show them how to be, a better clinician, show them how to do stage hypnosis, street hypnosis, get that confidence, have those skills. And they didn't have anyone close in the area. They didn't have a conference that maybe they thought they could go to. I mean, because some of them were far removed. Most people knew about HypnoThoughts. Not very many people knew about Heartland. Which was still a great conference. So that was one of the big reasons we started the conference, was to help people here in Michigan have that opportunity to meet and talk with others in the industry and know they're not alone, because we tend to sometimes in this business think we're alone. So that was one of the big driving forces behind it.
Well, I attended last year for the first time. I thought it was great. I mean, I personally enjoy not just the crossover of the conference between entertainment and the clinical side of thing, but really the efforts that are made to create that natural synergy that should exist between the two kind of realms of existence. And a ton of great networking opportunities and just, connections that I made there that I'm still in touch with, and will continue to be in touch with, have seen at other conferences, look forward to seeing back at Michigan again. Fantastic stuff. And the facility is good too. So
we lucked out on that one. It just happened. I just happened to cross it. Honestly, I was looking to get. Obviously, we wanted to get down towards that main airport, the Detroit airport. That's the big airport. I think we were up there one year in the UP, and there was a method to my madness on that. But it was, and I laugh. I thought we'd be okay, because there were like two airports up there, one in Escanaba and one in Sawyer. It was the Sawyer International Airport and the Escanaba Airport, and Delta and United both flew into Escanaba, and they both flew into Sawyer. I mean, you couldn't get Spirit up there, but who wants to? So yeah, I thought we'd be okay. Well, what they didn't tell me was the Sawyer International Airport was really just the old Oscoda Air Base up there, and they had closed that Air Force base and just really kept the airport open so that they would have it. So they were kind of playing fast and loose with the word international and airport. So right there. So that was another hard one to get to. Gaylord was hard to get to. That one was hard to get to. But once we got into that venue, I started getting emails from venues downstate. Hey, why don't you come see our venue? Why don't you check? Because when we first opened this conference, Gaylord was the only one that would touch us. Nobody else wanted to, even talk to us. We couldn't get emails returned. Phone calls went unanswered. They did not want to know us because it was our first year. And maybe you can understand that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. And we talked to Motown Casino. Well, that turned out to be a union casino. I didn't want to pay the exorbitant fees for someone to come in and push the on button on a projector. So I was like, man, I don't want to do that. Well, then up in my social feed popped up the Hollywood Greektown Casino, and they were more than happy to let us use our own AV equipment. And that is one of the reasons that we don't charge as much as, other conferences to go to, is because we have all our own AV equipment. That is a cost that I don't have to spend money on. So then we can take that savings and pass it on to the attendee and the speaker, and keep that cost down, which is what I really like to do. I don't want to charge people a huge amount of money to come to this conference. I want them to come for the networking, the connections, everything that they can get out of it. Yeah, I want to make a little money, but because obviously we want to keep the conference going. But at the same time, I don't want to, I don't want to use the word overcharge, but I want to make sure that they're getting value when they come here.
But they're getting, all right. So let's break down the value perspective. All right. And we're going to strip away the presenter value. All right. I just want to talk value about what's in the bag. All right. Everybody comes here and gets breakfast every day, right?
Oh, yeah. We do breakfast all 3 days. And then we do lunch on the first 2 days. And the reason we do that is because Sunday comes, every conference I've ever been to or you've ever been to, some people are starting to plan their return trips that Sunday. And some people are, getting on flights by noon, 1 o'clock. So again, to keep the cost down, we just kind of say, you know what, if you're staying the full 3 days, we're not, unfortunately, we're not going to be doing lunch. But again,
it's perfect because also by that time into the conference, you've met and networked with enough new people that you want to branch off and go to lunch with them anyway. So for all the Michael DeShallets out there, that's 5 meals. Okay. 5 meals. We're just talking about the meals. We haven't even gotten to the opening night party and the open bar, right?
Yeah, we did an open bar last year. The conference has to cover so much in the cost of food, and being an independent conference, we're not, there's not a huge amount of people per se that you would. I don't want to say that I don't want to use the word small because we're not really small. We're kind of intermediate, but because we have that, and we kind of say, you know what, if we're going to spend the money anyways, let's have an open bar. So
I'm not 5 meals and an open bar. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say because right now, and there was early bird pricing, so you could have booked this conference cheaper. Right now, you get all 3 days, all 5 meals, and whatever you could drink during that open bar for $200, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's a tremendous bargain, and we haven't gotten to the conference and the value that comes from any individual speaker, not to mention you've got what, like 30 speakers through the weekend or something like that? I don't know the exact number. I'm just spitballing it.
Yeah, we have about 39, 40 speakers.
Okay.
And all the speakers, and here's the great thing about this conference, right? All the speakers that come there attend each other's talks. It's, they don't just show up for their talk. As a presenter myself, I go to a conference, I go to other people's, I've been to your presentation I've been to many presentations because that's why you go there, right? You don't just go there to present. You want to be part of the conference. You want to be part of that. So you get into that.
the worst part of conferences like this, in my opinion, are when there are two things on that schedule happening at the same time and you want to go to both.
Exactly. That's
the worst, but there's a solution. You can still get the info.
Oh yeah. This year we're doing something different.
Okay.
Actually, we're doing a couple things different. We will not be doing audio recordings this year. I have, just in my own mind, I've decided, you know what? Audio is fine, but you can't see the presentation. So we're going to be doing video recordings. I've actually bought a few more cameras. They're all 4K. So we're going to record those and then upload those to our Vimeo page, or Vimeo, whatever page, the video page, so that people
Vimeo.
can then,
There we go.
Yeah, people can rent them, they can buy them. They're able to see the presenter. They're able to, know exactly, because when you get an audio and you hear the presenter pointing to something or doing, you can't see it. And we've done audio in the past, and that's fine. But I think this year we're definitely going full on video.
Sweet. Well, that's good to know, because then that means there's one less thing that I need to pack with me, because I was going to record my presentation.
Yeah, well, the presenters, I will say the presenters are perfectly welcome to come and record their own presentations. Even though we're recording that, I think it's still valuable to the presenter to have a recording of their presentation for what they want to do with it. And we will, of course, if they don't want to do that, we'll provide one to the presenter, and say, hey, here's your recording. And then because you know what, that's your work. You should get something out of it.
Yeah, I'm a pack one less thing.
Yeah,
or two less things, because the camera and the tripod. So I'm happy to put it in your guys' hands and do it that way, just because I've got some gear that I'm going to be bringing anyway that doesn't always travel with me. What else do people need to know that might be different this year, that might be an upgrade or an improvement, or something that maybe people complained about in the past that's going away? Anything like that?
Well, here's an improvement. Last year, we beta tested something. As many people know, I do the live stream, and we thought to ourselves, let's do this. If you have a educational booth there, as we call it, educational product booth. So we are going to be having a booth right there. You'll see the sign that says virtual live booth. We beta tested that last year with a few people. We emailed them, say, hey, you want to try this and see if it works? And it worked. So what we'll be doing is our booth, those people that bought a booth, will be able to sign up, come over, sit down, and not only, have their products at the conference, but they'll be able to do that from the conference live streaming. We're going to create an event page. Then we will be able to share that event page with those people. They will be able to invite their existing customer base to see that live. They will be able to put in a sales link for whatever they want to, send out, so that people can click on that. They can go to it, they can purchase it, and they can do that right from the conference. And then we get to download that video, give that video to the individual. They can then take it home and use it for branding clips, use it for branding purposes, sales purposes, whatever they want to use it for. So that's something new that we're doing. Instead of doing it on emails, we're going to put the link up here in just a few days. You'll be able to sign up and just have that spot. It's, I think, going to be maybe like 10, 15-minute spots.
Oh,
and
cool.
just go live from the conference and say, hey, I'm here at the conference. Here's what I'm doing. Here's my product, and just go there. So I think that is something interesting to do.
That's pretty sweet. Yeah. I mean, being able, because again, it's all about adding value. And one of the things that a lot of people don't realize, that I know that you very, very well realize is that you are catering to multiple audiences at the same time. You've got the presenters; those are an audience. Your attendees are an audience. Your vendors are an audience. The staff and everybody at the casino is an audience. Everybody in that hospitality, you've got to kind of tiptoe around and make sure that everybody's getting the value out of it, being treated right. Because again, I think I don't even remember because I got in at such a late hour last year, but I want to say it took me like 10 minutes, 15 tops to get from the airport to the hotel. Like,
oh,
you don't want to lose that spot. That's brilliant. Like the ability to just not have to worry about, okay, I'm here and now I have to go wherever and hopefully they can get me there. Hopefully getting in at whatever time in the morning, there's a cab or an Uber that's willing to not cancel my ride because they find out how far I'm going. Like all that stuff means something,
Yeah.
I've had it happen before, but so being that close is great. And you got to keep everybody happy. So, but also for folks that haven't been able to make it, they get the entire, or well, they're not going to get those 5 meals, but, or the open bar, but all of the elements of it, because those things are valuable as well. And a lot of times folks at those booths are offering deals that they're only offering during the conference. So,
so I haven't, and I'm trying to think, you had mentioned like, if I changed something that somebody complained about, I didn't really get a lot of complaints, if any.
Yeah. From my perspective, everything last year moved very, very smoothly. I didn't notice anybody upset about anything. It seemed to be going fairly well. I know that there were a couple of, and this happens at probably every conference, a couple of things that needed to change and pivot and shuffle around. And that happened incredibly seamlessly from a outsider's perspective. And
you said that and it just made me think of something, an improvement. This year we have a mobile app.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yeah. And it is live on Google and Apple right now. And that mobile app, you'll be able to see any announcements that are coming. You can go in and mark what presenters or presentations you want to see, create your own schedule. There is a link, and it's right now we have last year's link up there. So if you download the app, on that front page, it says get your certificate now. You will be able to download your professional development certificate from last year for kind of a continuing education certificate, if you will, but it's there. You can download that from the app. Also, you can see all the presenters that are there. We're going to have videos that you're not going to see anywhere else but on the app. So we put that together, and I think it's a nice little app. I mean, it's not WOVA by any means, but it's a nice little app. It's fun and it's usable.
Yeah, it seemed to be pretty easy to navigate for me so far.
Yeah.
Is there, and this we have not set this up. This is us literally having this conversation live. So if you all want to see the production meeting, it's happening right now. Okay, I don't know if we can can we click into the presenters?
No, I tried to set that up, but it wouldn't let me do that. You can see who's presenting.
Right. I was just wondering if, as I'm doing these interviews, if we can link I guess they can go in the video tab of the app. What do you need? Yeah. YouTube links? Me to feed those to you when I get them, or do you need the raw files, or how does that work?
If you want to just send me the videos, or just email me the videos and I can download them. Okay. So, and then I can put those in there. I think there is a section for me to put in a podcast, but I'll have to look at that, and I can get with you later on that if you want.
Hey, whatever works.
Yeah.
You know, again, my desire to do these is to help elevate the profession, help elevate the conference, get
Oh,
the
no,
word out
that's
there
yeah.
in any way possible. So,
Yeah,
um,
you said it, and I thought, you know what? It is. There's a thing for podcast, so I know that we could probably link your podcast about the conferences to that. So that's another thing that people would be able to see or experience on the app. I believe
right.
we can do that. So, but yeah, we'll get into that, man.
Well, you
What
know
else?
me. Just throw it
Yeah,
at me and we'll make it happen. I'm down for
exactly.
it. So,
Swag bags are going to be better this year.
oh, good.
So yeah, I really did. Last year I was just so many things were going so fast. I didn't have a chance to put together the swag bag like I normally do. I think we had some things in the swag bag because I don't want to hand somebody an empty bag. They come to the conference, you know. I just don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So we are having a swag bag. So you're going to get that bag, and you know it's going to have some neat stuff in it. So that's another value.
Are you having the headshot person there this year?
We are. Picture Perfect
Okay.
will be there.
All right.
He'll be there Friday.
That right there. If you don't have professional headshots and you've priced them, you know that those would cost you more than the $200 to attend this conference, plus 5 meals and an open bar.
Exactly.
And we really haven't even started talking about presenters at the conference, which is what all of the other podcasts are going to be about that follow this one. Because there's a ton of value. Like, I guarantee anybody who is interested in or is starting to, or maybe has been doing stage hypnosis and performances for a while, you will learn ways in which to save or earn more than $200 just from my talk alone, because I will be talking about things that you shouldn't do and things that you should do as you're getting starting as a stage hypnotist. And both are equally valuable. Avoiding certain things will save you more than $200 and a ton of headache.
Okay.
And of course, booking more gigs always makes more money. So that's just one talk that I know for sure is going to get you your value and 5 meals.
Exactly. So, and I wish I would have known you years ago when I was doing stage hypnosis, because I know I spent more money than I probably should have.
Let's be real, Dan. A lot of the tips in my my talk are from mistakes that I made myself. So I wish I knew me back then too.
Yeah, as I often say, I've made all the mistakes for you.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah. Our opening keynote speaker this year is Carolyn Ching, renowned clinical hypnotherapist, author, international speaker. She came to the very first Michigan Hypnosis Conference in Gaylord, and we were just so super psyched to have her back as our keynote speaker.
Excellent. And then, of course, a full lineup of presenters throughout the weekend. Mm-hmm. Those 5 meals, Michael DeShalit. I know it sounds like I'm pitching this to him, but he's already coming, right? So
no, I don't know if he's coming.
Oh, is he not? Well, I'm just have to drop this link on his feed so that he knows that there's 5 meals.
Yeah,
I know that sometimes he factors that in to gig cost.
Yeah, and Mike's a great guy. I know that he's helped out, he's been there with the summit, ICBH. He gave me some really good advice early on when I was doing stage hypnosis. So he's a good guy. So yeah, I like him.
And he's a Google review influencer. He let me know that at Heartland.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. So, yeah, I'll have to give him $20. Like, listen, let's talk about this Google review.
There we go. Let's not earmuffs Google. All right, I'm sure that violates several terms of service. All right. Well, I've kept you here for quite some time, Dan. Anything else that we need to throw at them? How about the information on where they go to register if you haven't already?
Oh, yeah. Just go to MichiganHypnosisConference.com. Click on the Register Now button. $200. all 3 days. So, and hit venue, scroll down, click on book your room, get your room. So while our room block lasts. So last year we
there's
ran
a code associated with that. Is that on the website?
It is. So actually, yeah. But if you click on that thing, if you click on the button to book your room, it takes you right to our code. You don't have to put it in.
Beautiful.
So that's one step that you don't have to take. It just, you get right to that and you get the room rate automatically. So, but last year we ran out of rooms and we had to have them open some more rooms for us. So, but yeah, so book your rooms while they last.
Yeah, and definitely stay there because it's just so much easier to wake up. There's kind of a bridge that you walk across.
Yep.
And just be right there on campus. And this is messaging that's really geared toward anybody who has not attended a conference before. Because if you have attended a conference before and you've tried to play this game where, hey, I can save $20 a night at this hotel down the street, you realize that not being there zaps so much value out of the conference. Just being there and just being able to immerse in the thing. I remember years ago, the very first time that I attended Magic Live in Las Vegas, the biggest magic convention in the US. I think they have like 2,000 people or something like that at the Orleans usually. And I was like, oh, the Orleans, I'm going to stay someplace nicer and someplace I can get comped. And I did, and you just miss that the going back and forth between the places, the late night stuff, the hanging out that happens, the real nitty gritty, not on the schedule stuff.
Yeah,
you're gonna zap some of the impromptu. Hey, we're gonna go hang out with a big group down in Greektown. If you're off campus at some hotel that's not connected, you're not getting invited to that stuff because you're just it's not a clicky sort of, here, I'm going to invite my friend. It's here are all the people I see. Do you guys want to come? Let's go. Like, so you got to be in the room.
When you step out of the hotel, when you come out, that it's right there. Greektown's right there. You've got the Greek restaurant. You've got the Pegasus. You've got just right there. All the stuff is there. And I will say, it was funny that you mentioned that before I go. We had a couple of the guys lived in Detroit and they tried to do the drive back and forth from their house to because they were like, oh, I'm only 20 minutes away, or I'm only this far away. And then I talked to them this year, like, yeah, I'm not doing that again, because they got into the whole, well, I got to get the kids to school, I got to stop and get gas. Oh, I missed breakfast. Well, I'll stop and get McDonald's. And by the time they get to the conference, it's 11 o'clock and they've missed the whole morning. Right. So they were like, yeah, I'm not doing that again. It's like, yeah, don't do that. So
yeah, so definitely stay on campus, so to speak. And when you are if you are coming from out of state and you are flying in, Uber, the hotel is a separate location from the hotel on the map. They're literally like two adjacent buildings, but you want the Uber to drop you off at the hotel, not the casino, because you can't walk through the casino. They're two physically different buildings, but they are connected. You can't walk through the casino with your luggage. So if you make that mistake like I did at like 1:30 in the morning,
you've got to go.
You got to go out and around, and it's like, all right, no big deal, but a lesson that I learned. Awesome. So I'm going to make sure that anybody that replays this on YouTube, that link to the conference website is right down there in the description. And tune in most Tuesdays and Thursdays, 2 p.m. Eastern time. I definitely have one coming up this Thursday, so 2 days from now with Sean Bray. I believe I have one next Tuesday. And then the following Thursday, I don't, because I have a gig up in New York. But the schedule's starting to stack. If you are a presenter who has not signed up for that, I will make sure. No, I don't want to put that link in here because that would be public. Reach out to Dan, reach out to me on social media. Dan's already sent it out in an email. Either way, if you have not booked a time to sit down and do an interview about your talk, this might be the easiest promotional piece that you have to get folks to come to the conference, to get folks to come to your talk. I've only started browsing the topics, and a lot of the topics that I've been browsing by virtue of people signing up to do the interviews with me. There's some really, really valuable and great stuff that's going to be at this year's conference. Tons of value. So as always, I mean, it's not a surprise, but yeah.
So
excellent.
All right. Well, thanks for having me, man.
Of course. I appreciate your time as always. And we'll see everybody on the next one.
Thank you for tuning in to the Between Two Minds Behind the Scenes podcast. Be sure to follow us on social media under Between Two Minds with the number 2 instead of TWO, or under Enter the Impossible. Thank you, and we hope to see you back for the next episode.